Good morning, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, all.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine, sir.
Okay, me too.
Sir, how are you?
Yes, I am also keeping well.
Good morning, sir.
As the students, so is the teacher. If you are fine, I am also fine. Where are others? Still, is my voice audible?
Yes, sir.
And the
Yes,
board,
sir. Perfect.
board is very clear.
Yes, sir.
And what
Yes,
about my image? My video also is clear.
Sir, everything is fantastic.
Yeah.
yes, sir.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Everything is fantastic.
Okay, so how many of you have revised or read this chapter which we had begun yesterday? How many of you? Have you gone through the chapter or the summary or just reading of the?
Yes,
Yes,
sir. Summary.
Aditya, you have read the summary of the chapter. Okay, very good. What about rest of you? Other than Aditya, no one is there who was able to take out some time for reading the chapter. Keshav, Gorang, Soni, Prakshal, Daga, none of you.
Yes, sir.
Have you gone through the chapter? No.
Yes, sir.
You thought that already sir will teach, we shall study in the classroom, then why to waste our time at home, isn't it? Why to work hard twice? But you don't know that hard work pays. Yes, Shikha, how are you? Shikha,
So fine.
you are fine, but also be fine in your study. Read the chapter or the summary or the word meaning. Make a reading of the chapter every day. Okay, so as we begin the chapter, first of all, word of the day for you. What is today's word? Any one of you? What is today's
Sir, scanner.
scanner? Scanner. And what's the meaning of the word scanner?
Sir, irrational dislike.
Irrational dislike. Disliking someone, not liking someone, hate someone. But there is no reason, there is no proper reason for that. That is the word scanner. Now, some of the key words which you shall see in the chapter I have written for you. First one is cradle, cradle. Cradle means to give rest to the telephone receiver, keeping down something, especially to the uh, gadget, computer gadget, or giving rest to the telephone receiver. Next is filthy. Filthy means dirty, not clean. Next one is cutly. Curtly. Cutly means shortly, in short manner. Smoldered means heat, fire in the eyes of someone. Heat in the eyes, anger in the eyes of someone. Next is vaguely. Vaguely means not clear. Something which is not clear, misty. Next one is reverend. Reverend means respected, and it is specially a title of respect given to the uh, Christian priest, Christian clergy, Christian ministers, especially those who are in charge of the churches, like priests, pastor, bishop, fathers, etc. To them, this title is given. For example, Reverend, Father Rector, Reverend Bishop, Reverend Parish Priest. So, Reverend means respected. But remember the title of respect given especially to the Christian clergy people. Now, the aim of the class is to improve your reading skill, listening skill, and also comprehension skill. So, you shall improve your reading, your listening, and also you will be able to comprehend the passage. A short recap of yesterday's chapter we had begun, and then we go through the book word by word, line by line. So, in the chapter, there are 4 5 characters. The protagonist of the story is Ivan James Roderick. His full name is Ivan James Roderick. He is a prisoner. He is a leptomaniac. What is the meaning of leptomaniac? Yesterday, this word was there. Lepto,
So, hobby of stealing?
yes, a person who steals for fun, for
Fun.
entertainment, and a person who is used to stealing. He can't live, he can't remain without stealing. That is the meaning of the word kleptomaniac. So, Ivan was kleptomaniac, he enjoyed stealing, and therefore he was put into prison. But he had already escaped from the prison 4 times. And this time, when he was in the prison, he had made a plan by appearing in O language or O level of German language, and along with his friends and some other people, policemen, he had made a plan to escape from the prison. But you would also notice about Ivan that he had never been violent. Earlier, he had never been violent with the policeman or with any other prisoner in the jail. However, the police and the jail authorities, they kept an eye on him all the time. They observed him so that he may not get any chance to escape from the prison. Governor in the story, governor is an anxious man. He's anxious about Ivan. He doesn't want that Ivan should escape from his jail, from his prison, because he was the supreme head. He was the jailer in charge of the jail. And if Ivan was running from the jail, it would be shame on him. Therefore, he was very much anxious, but still, Ivan had befooled him. Ivan had tricked him. He had escaped from the prison in disguise of McClary, but later on, he was caught in the Hotel Golden Lion. He was caught, but again he had tricked the governor. So ultimately, the conclusion was that governor was a fool. He was a foolish man. So governor was tricked at the end of the story again, and Ivan sat in the car and he told the driver to take the route to other place, not to the jail. There is also another character, Mr. Carter. Mr. Carter is detective. So Mr. Carter's role comes when Ivan had escaped from the prison in disguise of McClary. So then Mr. Carter was given the duty to investigate, to examine the case. And Jackson and Stephen, both the policemen, both the police officers were given thorough scolding by governor. McClary, already I had told you that McClary was a priest in St. Mary's Mag. There was a Saint Mary monastery there. McClary was a priest, and he was given the duty to invigilate Ivan in the jail for his exam. During his exam, McClary was there, but actually, real McClary was hostage in his own room by Ivan's friend. Ivan's friend had captured McClary. They had tied him in his room, and somebody else, Ivan's other friend, in disguise of McClary, in getup of McClary, he had come to the prison for conducting the exam, and there their planning was successful. Jackson, he was the senior officer in the prison, and he was the one who had inspected Ivan's friend who had come to take exam of Ivan. So Ivan's friend had come in disguise of McClary, in getup of McClary. So therefore they couldn't identify whether this is a real McClary or fake. He had taken complete getup of McClary. And then Stephen. Stephen was a new recruit. It was his new job in police, and his duty was to guard Ivan's cell. And later on, when the exam was over, Stephen was the one who had escorted Ivan's friend, that is, he thought to be McClary, outside of the jail. And when later on, when the things were discovered, he was very uh, uh, shame. He was feeling guilty that because of his mistake, because of carelessness, it had happened. And the governor also had rebuked, scolded them for all these mishaps. Now you can pick up the book in your hand. Yes, all of you have the book. Yes or no?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, so pick up the book in your hand, and you will read it one by one. I will give chance to everybody to read. Okay, so raise your hand. Those who want to read first. Who is going to read? Okay, first hand, Prakshal Daga. Okay, yes, Prakshal. So you begin. Start reading.
Yes, sir. Chapter 7, Ivan Tries an O level by Colin Textor. Should criminals in prisons be given the opportunity of learning and education?
Okay,
Dramatic
so
person.
this question's answer to be given. Should criminals in prison be given the opportunity of learning and education? What's your opinion, Chirag, about that? Chirag, what do you say? Should criminal be given opportunity to study in the prison? What do you say, Chirag? Shreya, Aditya Agrawal.
Yes, sir. They should given a chance because criminals are not criminals by birth. It's the way they decide whether they will going to be criminals or they will be a good person in their life. The way it's been legislated according to which.
Sorry. Do you think it would help them?
Yes, sir.
Do you think it will help them changing, transforming into better person? Yes, what do you say? Any one of you?
Yes, sir. Education will help them to change in a better person.
Yes, education can change someone a better person. And but there have been many examples in history also where an educated person has committed serious, severe crime. So that's exception. But yes, I also agree that criminals should be given right to education. Criminals are given right to fight election. You know that one who is in the prison, he can fight election. He can fight as independent, or any party can give him the ticket. Many cases are there. Many examples are there. Those who have been Bahubali, gangsters, dacoit. Example is Pulan Devi. Even though she was a dacoit, she fought election and she had won also. In UP, there are many this kind of gangsters everywhere. Even though everywhere, okay. So dramatis personae, those who are in the chapter, just I'm telling about them. First of all, the secretary of the examination board. So secretary of the examination board. So conversation goes on between the secretary of examination board and the governor. Second one is the governor. The governor of HM Prison, Oxford. Next one is James Evans. He is a prisoner. Next character is Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson is a prison officer. He is a senior prison officer. Next is Mr. Stephen. He is also a prison officer but newly recruit. Next is Reverend S. McClary. He was an invigilator. He used to live in St. Mary's, Max, but he was given the duty to invigilate Ivan for his exam. Next is Mr. Carter. So Mr. Carter is detective superintendent. So he was the superintendent detective. He was given the case when Jackson and Stephen, they were uh, dismissed from the duty by the governor because Ivan had tricked and escaped from their jail. Next is Mr. Bell. He is also detective chief inspector. So both these people, both this person were given the duty after Jackson and Stephen. So all precautions have been taken to see to it that the O-level German examination arranged in the prison for Evans does not provide him with any means of escape. So the governor had tried his best. He had seen everything that is arranged in the prison for Ivan's exam, German level O level exam, and if it was done, Ivan wouldn't get chance to escape from the jail. Therefore, they were very anxious. Yes, now you read, Prakshal.
Yes, sir. It was in early March when the secretary of the examination board received the call from Oxford Prison. It's a slightly unusual request, Governor, but I don't see why we should not try to help. Just the one fellow, you say? That's it. Chap called Evans started night classes in O level German last September. Says he's dead keen to get some sort of academic qualification. Is he any good? He was the only one in the class, so you can say he's had an individual tuition all the time, really. Would have cost him a packet if he would been outside. Well, let's give him a chance, shall we? That's jolly kind of you. What exactly is the procedure now?
Okay.
Oh,
So till
don't
now,
worry.
wait. Till now, you understood that the conversation is going on between the secretary of the board exam and the governor. So the secretary of the board exam and governor, they are discussing about the prisoner. They are discussing how he is, what kind of student he is, has he studied well, will it be any good for Ivan's giving the exam, and the governor says he was all alone in the prison and he got opportunity to study uh, personally. He was given a personal tutor and it will do good to him. So this kind of conversation, this kind of talk was going between the secretary of board exam and the governor of the Oxford prison. And the governor was good. Governor said, okay, let's give him the chance to study. Let's not devoid him from studying, from getting education. Yes, continue.
Oh, don't worry about that. I will be sending you all the forms and stuff. What's his name? You say Evans. James Roderick Evans. It sounded rather grand. Just one thing, Governor. He's not a violent sort of fellow, is he? I don't want to know his criminal record or anything like that. But no, there's no record of violence. Quite a pleasant sort of chap. They tell me, bit of a card, really. One of the stars at the Christmas concert. Imitations, the sort of thing. Mike Yarwood stuff. No, he's just a congenital kleptomaniac. That's all. The governor was tempted to add something else, but he thought better of it. He would look after that particular side of things himself.
Okay. So
Presumably.
when he was asked, when the board secretary asked, is he violent? What kind of person? I don't want to know everything about his criminal record, but just give me some hint what kind of person he is. So the governor said, no, he is not violent. He has never been violent to me or to any other officer. That's what my uh, people in the jail they have told me. And he had been really hard during the Christmas festival. So during the festival in the jail also, the um, program is organized so that the prisoner also may enjoy. So it's the duty of the governor everywhere in India also, in foreign countries also, according to the festival, whatever the festival or season is that, the food, the program is organized, and therefore he said that he is a guard. He is very good in imitating. Imitating means copying the people, taking voice and get up of the people. He is very good at that. And further, he did not want to say much about him. He just said he is a leptomaniac. Leptomaniac, he has just habit of stealing, and he steals for the sake of fun, entertainment. That's it. Continue.
Presumably, said the secretary, you can arrange a room where. No problem. He's in a cell on his own. If you have no objections, he can sit the exam in there. That's fine. And we could easily get one of the parsons from St. Mary Max to invigilate if that's fine. Yes, they seem to have a lot of parsons there, don't they? The two men chuckled good naturedly, and the secretary had a final thought. At least there's one thing. You should not have much trouble keeping him incommunicado, should you? The governor chuckled politely once more, reiterated his thanks, and slowly cradled the phone.
Okay.
Evans.
Yes. So now the conversation between Ivan and the sorry, not Ivan, the secretary and the governor over, and he also said that you can arrange the room there itself in the prison. If he doesn't mind, if he has no problem, he can arrange the room, and I can arrange one of the parsons, one of the priests to invigilate Ivan so that he will not cheat in the exam. And because there are many parsons, many priests in the Saint Mary's Mag nearby, so one of them may come and they may invigilate Ivan. So both of them agreed for this, and the governor had slowly cradled the phone. Yes. Now anybody else would like to read? Anyone else? No. Same person? Yes, read, Prakshal.
Evans the Break, as the prison officers called him, thrice he had escaped from prison, and but for the recent wave of unrest in the maximum security establishment up north, he would not be gracing the governor's premises in Oxford, and the governor was going to make absolutely certain that he would not be disgracing them. Not that Evans was a real burden, just a persistent, nagging presence. He would be all right in Oxford, though the gardener would see to that, would see it to personally. And besides, there was just a possibility that Evans was genuinely interested in O level German. Just a slight possibility. Just a very slight possibility. At 8:30 p.m. on Monday, 7 June, Ivan's German teacher shook him by the hand in the heavily guarded recreational block just across from D Wing. Guten Glück, Herr Evans. Pardon? I said, good luck. Good luck for tomorrow. Oh, thanks. Danke schon. You have not a cat in hell's chance of getting through, of course, but I may surprise everybody, said Evans. At
Okay.
8:30 the
So
following morning,
just one day before the exam, as you know that Ivan's tutor, Ivan's teacher used to come to teach him every day to the prison. He used to train him into German language, grammar, and etc. But this teacher was Ivan's friend. The prisoner, the prison authority, the jail authority, they thought that this is a real tutor, has been arranged by them. But actually, it was not a teacher, it was Ivan's friend. He was also involved in making strategy or planning for making Ivan free from the prison. So before the exam started, the governor for some time he was thinking whether Ivan is really interested in the O level or simply it is his trick. So, but in his mind he was very much determined. He had thought that I would not allow him to disgrace me. I will not allow him to escape from the prison. So therefore, the governor was very anxious, conscious, aware. He didn't want to leave any loophole in his safety and security. Now, continue.
at 8:30 the following morning, Evans had a visitor, two visitors in fact. He tucked his grubby string vest into his equally grubby trousers and stood up from his bunk, smiling cheerfully. Morning, Mr. Jackson. This is indeed an honor. Jackson was the senior prison officer on D Wing, and he and Evans had already become warm enemies. At Jackson's side stood Officer Stephens, a burly, surly looking man only recently recruited to the
So
profession.
before the exam, two officers visited Ivan's cell. They visited why? For checking if he has any weapons or any unwanted things by which he could hostage the invigilator or he could harm them. So both of them, and it is said that Evans and Evans and Jackson, both of them were enemy. Both of them did not like to see each other. They didn't want to see each other's face. There have been earlier in the past also heat talks with them. So there was Stephen also. Stephen was a burly, surly means a well-built, handsome looking man, newly recruited. Jackson nodded curtly. And how is our little Einstein this morning? So Jackson just made a comment. He made a satire. And what did he say? How is our little Einstein? अरे हमारा आइंस्टाइन कैसा है? हमारा आइंस्टाइन के क्या हाल चाल है? यानी कि वो उसको ताना मार रहा है, कमेंट कर रहा है. Wasn't he a mathematician, Mr. Jackson? I think he was a Jew, Mr. Jack. Now again the conversation going on between Ivan. So Ivan says, wasn't he a mathematician? He was a mathematician. And why are you telling me? You're making a satire on me. I am appearing for German O-level exam. And he says he was a Jew, Mr. Jackson. Ivan's face was unshaven and he wore a filthy looking red and white bobble hat upon his head. So Ivan's face was unshaven. There was beard, grown up beard on his face, and he was wearing a bobble hat. What is a bobble hat? A woolen hat on his head. He had covered his head with woolen hat. And now, later on, he would find out what was the secret of this hat. Why he was keeping a hat, woolen hat, bobble hat on his head. What was he hiding there. Give me a chance, Mr. Jackson. I was just going to shave when you burst in. So Ivan tells Mr. Jackson, give me a chance. I was just around to shave. You just burst in. You just came in. Which reminds me, Jackson turned his eyes on Stephen. Make sure you take his razor out of the cell when he is finished scraping that ugly mug. So Jackson said to his subordinate, to his junior, Stephen, Stephen, be careful and take that razor once he had finished his shaving. He has finished scraping his mug. Mug here stand for his face. He is calling Ivan's face a mug, a dirty thing. Clear. One of these days he will do us all a favor and cut his bloody throat. So he said he can do anything to escape from the prison. He can take advantage of any situation. For a few seconds, Evans looked thoughtfully at the man standing ramrod straight in front of him. Ramrod means like elephant. For a few seconds, Ivan just looked at the man standing like elephant. Ramrod. Ramrod means a hurly burly, well built like elephant. A string of Second World War medals proudly paraded over his left breast pocket, and he noticed that the medals he had won during World War II, all these medals were decorated on his chest. Mr. Jackson, was it you who took my nail scissors away? So he also asked Ivana, Mr. Jackson, did you take my nail scissors? Nail scissor is scissor which is used for cutting the nails. Was it you who took it? So what does it say? Look for a moment. Ivan's eyes mouldered dangerously, but Jackson was ready for him. So Ivan showed his anger through his eyes. He started staring at Jackson, but Jackson was ready for it. Jackson was ready for any action. Orders of the governor Evans. He leaned forward and leered, his voice dropping to a harsh. So what did he say? Order of the governor. It is his order. We can't do anything. And when he was saying, his voice became harsh, hard and harsh. Contemptuous whisper. You want to complain? He also said, you want to complain? Complain to governor. He only had ordered to us. Evans shrugged his shoulders lightly. The crisis was over. And shrugging his shoulder means shaking the shoulder, just saying no or showing some reaction. Yes, continue, Prakshal.
Yes, sir. You have got half an hour to smarten yourself up, Evans, and take that bloody hat off. Me, hat off. Evans put his right hand lovingly on top of the filthy villain and smiled sadly. Do you know, Mr. Jackson, it's the only thing that's ever brought me any sort of luck in life. Kind of luck charm, if you know what I mean. And today I thought, well, with me exam and all that, but it somewhere in Jackson was a tiny core of compassion, and Evans knew it.
Okay. So Jackson said that you have got half an hour. Just smarten yourself. Just take a nice bath, shave your face, and um, just wear good clothes. You have got half an hour, and take that bloody hat off from your head. But Ivan said, that's the only lucky charm I have. It is very lucky for me. So please allow me to keep the hat on my head. And that was the mistake which was done by Jackson. Because somewhere within his heart, Jackson was also human. He had also kindness. He was also compassionate. He was also compassionate about people's feelings, and he allowed him to keep the hat on his head. Continue. Yes, continue.
8:45 the same morning, the Reverend Stuart McCleary left his bachelor flat in Broad Street and stepped out briskly towards Carfax. The weatherman reported temperatures considerably below the normal for early June, and a long black overcoat and a shallow crowned clerical hat provided welcome protection from the steady drizzle which had set in half an hour earlier and which now spattered the thick lenses of his spectacles. In his right hand he was carrying a small brown suitcase which contained all that he would need for his morning duties, including a sealed question paper envelope, a yellow invigilation form, a special authentication card from the examinations board, a paper knife, and a Bible. He was to speak to the Women's Guild that afternoon on the Book of Ruth and a current copy of the Church Times.
Okay.
The two
So at 8:40 the same morning, the Reverend Stuart McCleary, the priest, the in charge, the invigilator for Ivan's exam, he had come to the prison. He had come with a suitcase in his hand, and in the suitcase there was a paper knife, there was a church time magazine, and there was a Bible, and there were some other things which he required for his prayer service, to talk to the women, because as a priest, as a person, it was his duty to spread the word of God, to preach the Bible to the people. So he had come to the prison, and before entering, he had undergone the security check. And when he had undergone the security check, there were all these things found by Jackson, Stephen, one who had examined him, and there was also a rubber tube. Now, when he was asked about the rubber tube, he had given the interesting answer why he had brought that rubber tube. So, the last one, you see what are the things here? A special authentication card, that the ID card was there from the examination board. A paper knife was there. A Bible was there because he was to speak to the women's guild that afternoon on the Book of Ruth. Book of Ruth is again the book from the Bible, and a current copy of the Church Times. So, Church Times is the magazine which covers the news of the church, what's going on in the church, etc. Yes, the 2 hour examination was scheduled to start at 9:15 a.m. and the exam was supposed to start at 9:15 a.m. Now what happens? Yes, continue. Read.
Evans was lathering his face vigorously when Stephens brought in two small square tables and set them opposite each other in the narrow space between the bunk on the one side and on the other side a distempered stone wall. Next, Stephens brought in two hard chairs, the slightly less battered, of which he placed in front of the table which stood nearer the cell door.
So
Jackson put
Stephen,
in a brush.
Stephen had prepared the cell. He had kept the table and chair in the in the cell. Two tables, two chair. One for the invigilator McCleary, and second one was for Ivan. Yes, continue.
Jackson put in a brief final appearance. Behave yourself, laddie. Evans turned and nodded. And these? Jackson pointed to the pinups. Off. Evans turned and nodded again. I was going to take 'em down anyway. Minster, Vincent, the chap coming to sit in, I mean. And how did you know that? Asked Jackson quietly. Well, I
Okay.
had to sign some forms.
Yes, I had to sign some form. So Jackson gave his final observation, Jackson came finally before